Mhm. Hi, Gypsies. We are back with another live recruiter Q&A giveaway. This week we have Gustavo and Bradley from HealthTrust Workforce Solutions. HealthTrust is a Gypsy Nurse Verified Travel Nurse Agency. We are also one of the top 10 largest healthcare staffing companies and a subsidiary of HCA Healthcare, the nation's largest health system. Their travel nurse jobs offer a great combination of full-time benefits such as competitive pay, health benefits, travel reimbursement, education assistance, and other perks. They have opportunities in every specialty, including med-surg, telemetry, ER, OR, ICU, and more. They are unique because they represent one of the largest healthcare systems in the country and have positions every single day at the best hospitals in the nation. So that's just a little bit about them. Gustavo and Bradley will be giving more information on HealthTrust, but be sure to ask questions because we will be giving away a $20 Amazon gift card to one lucky nurse who asks questions. We will be putting your name in a drawing, and after the live event, we'll let you know who won. So I would like to introduce you to Bradley and Gustavo. So give them a minute to get on here. And
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
oh, we got to get up. Hi, guys.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm going to let you guys do your thing and get our nurses asking questions. Don't forget to ask questions because there's a $20 Amazon gift card on the line.
All right. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel. Good morning, everyone. This is Gustavo from HealthTrust. I am here in our headquarters in Sunrise, Florida.
Good morning, guys. Can everyone hear me? All right. Sounds good. So I'm Brad. I'm remote. I'm based in Atlanta. I've been with HealthTrust for just over 3 years, and I've been working in staffing for about 5. So HealthTrust is really where I found a really good fit. And I think that the nurses that I have on staff right now, they would agree as well that it's been a good fit for them as well. Hi guys, once we try to fix Gus's sound on his end, I'll just go ahead and start in. So I think one of the biggest perks that obviously some people know and some people don't about working with HealthTrust is that we are a subsidiary of HCA. So with that comes access to all of our facilities nationwide, whether that's working per diem or travel. And if you wanted to kind of bounce back and forth between the two, you can definitely do that. That's one of the biggest things that we have going for us, is just the access to an abundance of jobs. So I think, can everybody hear me okay? I know we're having some issues with Gus's audio on his end. Can everybody hear me? Oh, thank you, Tanisha. I appreciate that. Tanisha is one of my long-term nurses. I really appreciate that. So as Tanisha can attest, we definitely have a really good access as far as the number of jobs possible. We work with almost all individual specialties. It really just depends on what your background is going to be like. We do have some LTAC positions and some also acute care rehab. It just depends on what your experience is. Now, so as far as your specialty, I mean, I'm looking at some of these comments right now. We do have LTAC. Depending on how long have you been working in that, we can kind of take it offline if you wanted to do that. And then it depends on where you want to go. And then we also wanted to, one of the biggest things that we want to talk about today is a lot of people don't realize that there's a lot of career continuity with HealthTrust and working within HCA. So whether you are a new RN starting out, you can go into the STAR-RN program. You can move from there into working one of our HCA facilities, or you can start working with HealthTrust depending on what career path you want to take. We also recognize that a lot of our nurses want to kind of bounce back and forth between the two, maybe not work full time between, work constant travel contracts throughout the entire year. You may want to do a little bit of per diem. That's an option as well. So we definitely have a good relationship with all of our per diem offices so that we can make sure that, you don't go long without a job if you don't want to. So that's always a really good option for everyone. A really good option too is if you wanted to opt into our benefits, we do offer 401k match and health benefits as well. So the 401k picks up after 60 days. And then the benefits, if you wanted to opt into health, you are able to enroll in that once you actually start the assignment. And then those would pick up after 30 days. So it's a really good setup.
Hey, Brad, can you hear me now?
Yes, I gotcha.
Excellent. Okay. So
Gus, I think you could hear me as far as what we were talking about. If you wanted to piggyback off of that, you definitely can. Just about how our career continuity was going.
Excellent. Hey, Brad, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Excellent. Did we get to Deborah's question about the pay packages and Maria, her apartment for rent in Vegas?
No, we have not.
Okay, great. What is the specific question about your apartment in Vegas? In terms of openings and availability in Vegas, we have 3 hospitals. In Las Vegas, we have Mountain View, Sunrise, and Southern. And we have plenty of options for work in Vegas, from per diem to resource pools to actual travel contracts. I have had travelers in many specialties from ER, ICU, tele working year-round in Vegas. I know one of the questions regarding living in Vegas is if you're doing a 12-month lease or a 6-month lease that I've had from travelers. And honestly, we have so many options for our travelers that it doesn't really matter if you want to do a 12-month lease and go ahead and book yourself for work year-round. As long as you keep your certs active, like your license and your certification, anything else required for the state of Nevada, you will be good.
Tanisha said, great options. I've done both travel with Bradley PRN Texas. It's nice crew in San Antonio. She's absolutely accurate. You can bounce back and forth between the two if you just want a little break. Totally depends on how you want to handle that.
We have a question.
Talk about I know you wanted to specifically talk about the year-long traveler program that we have going on right now that got rolled out a few months ago.
Yes, we actually have a year-long program for our travelers that they can qualify for full-time benefits through basically doing 3 consecutive contracts with us, and you will be sent for your first contract. Usually we let you choose where you'd like to go for your first one. And then for the remainder of the 2 contracts, we will be sending you to locations that will need you the most, locations that may be remote, or locations where you're licensed to work in. In certain cases, we might need to pay for a license in case there's a crisis out in California or hurricanes out in Florida. So we're looking for travelers that can commit to a whole year that will grant you full-time benefits, including medical, dental, vision, 401k matching, and commitment and job security for an entire year.
Denise, to answer your question, yes, we do hire phlebotomists as well.
We have a question from Deborah in regards to pay packages and how they're divided up between the company and the recruiter and the nurse. That's a concern. I'm not sure if the concern is whether we're taking money away from you or where the money's going, but the money that the hospital bills for you is going to the support to be able to get your onboarding completed, to be able to get anything required that is for you to get to work. and obviously to pay for your hours, your subsidies, and everything that makes up your pay package. Some of these pay packages are negotiable. So in cases where a facility offers you a certain rate and we need to ask for more money, whether it is for a crisis situation or any type of exception that may be needed for work, Brad and I are great at working with the hospitals to negotiate and advocate on your behalf to get you the pay package that makes sense to you. Obviously, we want to send you on an assignment that is going to make you happy, an assignment that's going to be a successful assignment. We don't want to send you somewhere where it's not going to work out. We want to make sure that we put you in the right place. So we will work very hard to make sure that that's the case. And pay packages are something that Brad and I have much experience with, having to make customizations based on what you're looking for, whether it's housing or any type of exceptions that we need. I hope that answers your question.
Definitely. And then by that same token too, obviously I touched on that earlier, but the good thing is because we are a subsidiary of HCA, we're definitely going to have really good access to, in a lot of cases, first access, and in some cases, exclusive access to brand new contracts that are coming out. But also by that same token, we don't just work with HCA. We also have other health systems as well. So if you wanted to explore different options where HCA may have a future presence, but not one right now, we can definitely look into other options with some of the health systems that we are working with too.
That's right. Brad, did you go over the per diem and travel question?
Briefly.
Okay.
If you want to touch on it, you definitely can.
Yeah, sure. Just to piggyback, the main difference is obviously your base rate. We're in the travel division, we're trying to be more flexible and mainstream the process for our travelers to retain our travelers. In cases where we have travelers that may not be able to work full time and can still commit to working at least one shift a week for us, we're able to offer you a per diem rate, which is very similar in most cases to every division in every market, to the per diem rate that is offered by our company on the travel side, so that you can continue to do per diem with Brad and with myself and basically almost any division where we have hospitals. We just need your commitment on your side to be able to do at least one shift a week. If you could do more, that would be great, but we are able to offer you that per diem rate. And like I said, in many cases, it's the same rate. In some cases, in certain markets like North Texas, it's actually higher.
Right, that's exactly correct. Another option too. So if you find yourself, if something happens where you have a family issue, we understand things come up, and you don't think that you can commit to 36 or 40 hours or whatever your typical schedule is like for any given contract. If you wanted to do 1 or 2 days there, and at least for a set duration for a particular contract, you can definitely do that too.
That is correct. Also, I see a question about if the Gypsy Nurse post housing for landlords. To answer that question on the HealthTrust side, we actually have a housing team as well that can help you get into housing. And in some cases, I don't know, Brett, if you've had experience with this, I've had travelers that go to our housing team with a certain apartment they like or a certain type of housing situation that works for them. And for whatever reason, it may be that they are not able to secure it themselves. We can actually do that through the travel division, where we can work that out, where our team actually goes ahead and books that for you if you found a better rate.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that what I would say to that is it's always good to pursue different options. So obviously if we speak about a particular pay package to start with and you realize that you're having some sort of trouble actually finding housing, we would definitely go with our housing team and see what kind of options they can put together for you. And then you and I would have a discussion about what particular scenario is going to work best for you. Whatever's more financially beneficial for you, because obviously people get into this for the experience, but mostly the money, and we know that. So if it's going to make financial sense for you, that's what we're going to go with, whether you're taking our housing or if you're just going to go straight subsidy and find your own.
That's right. And Tanisha saying Texas money per diem is very comfortable with the cost of living. That is true. My market is San Antonio. We obviously cover every division and every market in wherever HealthTrust is and HCA hospitals are. But we have assigned divisions where we specialize in, and I have a good amount of travelers in Texas, and there's a fine line, and we're able to usually compromise and find a good way between making the assignment worthwhile so that you're in Texas, and if you're in a city that has a high cost of living, but we're still able to come up with a competitive pay package, we're able to do so that you go on these assignments in Texas, and whether you're doing per diem rate or whether you're doing travel rate, that it's not a wash, that you're coming out making money. And our purpose is to get you an assignment that you're going to enjoy and obviously make money while you're traveling. We have a question from Connie in regards to speaking to our house team. She's a landlord. Connie, we will reach out to you offline and we will set you up with our housing coordinator so you can get more information from her and our vendor so we can work together. That is absolutely something we want to do. We'll put you in touch with her.
Definitely. I think one of the most important things today too is just to realize the resources that are available to you if you were to go with HealthTrust. Obviously, we talked about moving back and forth between per diem and travel, but opting into benefits, 401k, health benefits, all that sorts of things that's available to you. But in addition to that, we also realize that a lot of people, whenever they get on assignment, they have difficulty either reaching their recruiter or they feel that they don't have some sort of resource that's advocating for them. We do have a clinical operations team that is on standby to answer any sorts of calls that you have about anything. If it's something that you don't feel comfortable talking with your recruiter about, you can always reach out to that clinical ops team. They're comprised of former nurses, so they know exactly what you guys are going through, and they are able to advocate on your behalf. Whether that's a privileged conversation just between the two of you guys and your unit, that's fine too. Or if obviously they need to read us into the situation later, whatever the actual case may be. So that's definitely something that you guys can do. And then if, God forbid something happens while your assignment to where you have concerns about a particular contract, we do have an ethics and compliance officer that is going to have a lot of oversight and should anything actually happen.
Absolutely. We have a question from Jody. Do you have CNA jobs? We have CNA jobs across all HCA hospitals, but in terms of travel CNA jobs, we have a few. We don't have as many as we have on the travel side. Definitely reach out to us after the call and we'll get in touch with you and we'll figure out where you're looking to work and to see if we have any travel contracts either per season or at any time so that we can send you the jobs as they come open. While you're going to nursing school, absolutely. We have a good amount of nurses and travelers that are also going to school, whether it's full-time, part-time, or online classes, and they can still travel as long as they're able to work it around their schedule with the facility. So that is absolutely a yes. To piggyback off of what Brad was saying, I've had a few instances where there are clinical questions or clinical things come up on the nurse side that they require assistance at our hospitals, and we have an amazing leadership team from the clinical liaisons to our actual managers, Joey, Sylvia, and they are a resource for us in case you guys need any help with anything. We want to make sure that you're at the facility and you're being treated fairly and you're being treated like you're part of the staff and you're being taken care of. And if that's ever the case where you feel like you're not being taken care of, like your voice isn't being heard, we have a team of individuals that support each division so that you can voice your concerns and reach out to them in regards to anything. And obviously loop Brad and I on any questions you may have or any concerns you may have so we can pair you up with the clinical liaison, or if it's something like a one-off that just needs to be addressed, then we'll be more than happy to walk you through that.
Completely agree. Yes, so.
Quick pause to show you some of the goodies that we have for some of the questions that are coming in. We want to offer some of these goodies to our travelers that want to come on board with us. We have some of the goodies that we gave away at TravCon, and we have some brand new goodies. We have some cups right here. Brad and I use these on the regular. These are actually pretty great for coffee, tea, just about anything. We have it right here. This is one of my favorites. Sporting hat for the gym, golf, for the summer, the fall, anytime. And this is actually my favorite one right here. It's a HealthTrust towel. Believe it or not, you can't feel it, but this is a very high thread count towel. I used it when we went to TravCon at the pool, and I got a lot of questions. People were loving the blue. They wanted to know what HealthTrust was. And when you see a bunch of white towels and then you see this navy blue, super soft, almost suede looking towel, everyone was wanting to have one too. So we'd love to send you guys one. So I had issues with my mic, so I'll just do my introduction now. But Brad actually brought me to work over at HealthTrust. I've been here for 3 years now, and I have about 6 years in staffing. And I'm extremely passionate about healthcare. I have family members that work in healthcare, and as I've wanted to make a transition to come and work in healthcare, I found a niche in the nursing side, and I truly believe that nurses are the heart and the soul of our hospitals, and our travelers are like ninjas. They come in, they're stealthy, they get the job done, they operate like they're part of the staff, and we absolutely love them, and we're thankful for all of our travelers, and it makes coming to work every day a pleasure. And I'm absolutely happy about everyone that I work with and getting to hear some of the great stories that happen at our hospitals. I've had a traveler that won a Daisy Award, and she actually ended up going perm. And with the hospital, of course, they loved her and they wanted to keep her. So I was very happy to find her a new home in Denver. So I'm extremely passionate about being here at HealthTrust. So another thing about our company that I wanted to highlight is how HealthTrust, for those of you that may not know, we're actually a subsidiary of HCA. And HCA's stance and their take on all of HealthTrust and the agency side of travel nursing is that they want to guarantee their travelers and their nurses jobs for life. So what we mean by jobs for life is, for example, nursing students that are in school right now, they are being kind of courted by HealthTrust so they can come and learn more about our company and what we do. And we have a program called StarN. And I've actually talked to several friends that I have that are in nursing school that have seen our StarN team go out to the schools that are local and talk to them about what we do. And StarN is basically a 2-year cohort program where we train you on different specialties at our hospitals here in South Florida or in different regions where you can learn more about different specialties. You're basically rotating throughout these programs and the specialties for 2 years. You're also in a classroom setting. And by the end of the 2 years, it's a 2-year long contract, but by the end of the 2 years, you're basically well-versed in 1 or 2 specialties and have had that classroom experience while you're also being paid. It's almost like a paid internship. You have a question for Jody? Can a travel nurse work 2 contracts at once? If you mean by 2 travel contracts at once at full time, that would not be advised. If you're working 36 hours and 36 hours at another place, that wouldn't really constitute for great patient care from the hospital side. I know they wouldn't be comfortable with wanting to put a traveler to work that is also working full time at another place for many reasons, like your schedule. It might be troublesome to have you work the schedule around the facility and also commit somewhere else to work full time. So it's not recommended. If you're working a contract somewhere else that you're doing maybe 1 shift a week, that is something that we could definitely talk about and see if that would be something that you can handle. I know that a lot of travelers work more than 1 job. You're either per diem or travel somewhere else and you're working 4 or 5 shifts on any given week. But that's something that we want to talk about and pair up to make sure that A, that's something that you can do, that's something that you're comfortable doing, and B, that's something that is going to work with the facility. We want to be sure that when we're sending you to work at our hospitals that you're giving them the all of your attention and care and making sure that you're working around their schedule, just like you're coming in as a guest. And if you're doing that somewhere else, it might be difficult. And we don't want to put you in a situation where it might be difficult for you to do that or handle that type of workload. Do you have any comments about that, Brad?
Yeah, I mean, having said that, we obviously, if you were doing a contract for us and you happen to be like PRN status or something like that at your home facility, as long as it's not an HCA facility, that would be something that would probably be the better option for you if you're looking to pick up that heavy workload. As long as you're still going to be able to satisfy whatever your required and guaranteed hours are for the contract, that would probably be okay. Now, having said that, another thing that we definitely do for any and all contracts is going to, well, now it's changed a little bit, but is guaranteed hours. So anytime that you go on an assignment, if it's a typical assignment, you are going to be guaranteed your 36 hours every single week, unless it's a special circumstance to where they do an additional number of hours guaranteed each week, or if for some reason we want to do a shorter hour type contract, we could do that as well. But that's definitely something you have access to, is your guaranteed hours every single week, no matter if you're called off or canceled.
That's right. And
Yeah.
to piggyback off of that, on the payroll side, on the guaranteed hour side, we are guaranteeing you 36 hours on this contract every single week, whether you're called off or there's low census, whatever the case is. But there's also your part of being able to commit to the 36 hours every weekend. We want to make sure and be upfront and let you guys know that if you do miss a scheduled shift, um, you're charged a $180 UHB charge for any shift that is not made up in that given week. So I'm very transparent and open with that with my travelers, and I communicate and advocate that to everyone to make sure that everyone's in the loop in terms of how to make that up and what is needed. And there are cases where you may be sick or may not be able to come to work. So the charges are usually only 2 a week. If you miss 3 shifts, you're not paid anything at all. But that's something that we can talk about on any case by case, whether you need to come back and make up the hours or you were called off and you were sick. So there's certain cases that may vary and may differ on occasion to occasion on how to make those hours up. But as long as the main thing and the important thing is to make sure that there's coverage at the hospital, that if you're scheduled to work at the hospital X amount of hours, that you can commit to those hours. If you cannot, then just be clear and communicate to the facility that you are not able to come and work those hours and you need to schedule yourself to come in at another time. And that's something that every facility is different. On the resource pool side, you are called to come into work when you do a resource pool contract with us. When you're working at the hospital on a travel contract, they will give you your schedule ahead of time, sometimes 2, 3 weeks out. And in some facilities, which is a little rare, but it does happen, they're self-scheduling. So that's kind of like the sweet spot for some travelers when they get to the hospital and they could just go in and make their own schedule. In that case, that's really a win. It's a win-win. So, well, the takeaway is we will guarantee your hours, but also your part of the bargain is to make sure that you can commit the 36 hours every week. And if you cannot, then you want to loop Brad and I on how to make up the hours or what you need to do so you can go ahead and be compensated every single week for your contracted hours.
Right. And that being said too, I mean, you touched on it briefly too. If for some reason we understand, and obviously facilities understand that people get sick, things come up. Sometimes you're not able to make that scheduled shift. If you're unable to make it during that scheduled week and you can't make it up the following week, you may get the UHB. But if you're able to make up those hours by working an additional shift to work before the end of the contract, that money can be refunded to you, depending obviously how many hours you're actually working. If you're working a full shift, we would just get with payroll and make sure that we get that taken care of for you. And then like Tanisha said, I mean, and Tanisha's comment just here as far as the canceling on the shift. So they're aware of the guaranteed hours. So a lot of times they're going to understand that you are there as a resource for them, and they are going to be obligated to pay you. And then if for some reason they cancel you, they call if you have to pay their guaranteed hours. But more often than not, they're going to want to float you within your life specialty for any given shift if they have any sort of issues with their census.
Absolutely. To go a little bit more on the floating and to piggyback on that, there are certain yes and no's on floating. Obviously the standard answer is yes, you will be floated. It's in our contracts, it's in our travel agreements, and the facilities will usually talk to you about what the floating policies is. Or you're encouraged to ask them during the interview what the floating policies are if you're ICU and you're being floated to like ICU units, or if you're med surge, sometimes you're even floated up to telemetry. So it's those situations where you want to partner with leadership and your recruiter, with Brad and I, on how you're being floated. If you're comfortable being floated, if you're being floated to different facilities, which is also the case sometimes, you want to make sure that when you are floated, that you're comfortable being floated and that you're not being floated from like an ICU to a psych unit or something like that. That just makes no sense. And believe it or not, sometimes it does happen, and anyone that's worked in a hospital will know that that has happened at some point, and it might just be a critical time at the facility, and it might not be something that it's definitely not encouraged, but it's something that you want to partner with leadership and make sure that if it's something that you can't handle, then definitely don't do it. And if it's something that you feel like you're comfortable with, then just partner with leadership and make sure that you have all the resources you need. I've had more than one traveler now that has been floated from med surge to tele and has actually picked up the tele skills on the job on the travel contract. So that's something that came up in this particular case, and It was all just from conversations and resources and training and partnering with the facility to make sure that you have everything you need and that you're comfortable. And as long as you're comfortable and you have all the resources you need and you're able to perform your job, then we want to do anything we can to help you.
So Bonnie had a question about this staffing for perm jobs. So Bonnie, the way the staffing for perm jobs is, we do have a perm recruitment team that works exclusively with staff positions. So if that's the route that you wanted to go, you definitely can. But you can also, another avenue for you, if you wanted to, is if you did a travel contract or even a per diem type situation in any given region near a facility, it could act as kind of a try before you buy situation, which has happened to me several times since I've been working with the company, and that a nurse thought that they wanted to live and work in a given area, but they weren't familiar with it. A lot of times that would be people coming in from out of state or across the state, namely in Florida is where we see that a lot. Where people will come in and say, well, I don't know if I want to be here long term, but I can do anything for 3 months. And they'll at least sign on and do something like that. So that's an option for you. But if you wanted to say at the end of your 13 weeks, or even if you're 2 weeks into the job and they think that they're going to make you an offer for you to come on perm, that transition would all be managed on the corporate HCA side. So they would take care of making sure that it was a seamless transition from you working, the travel contract package to you actually getting into perm where you're staff at that particular facility. It would just be a case-by-case basis.
That's right. And we have a question from Bonnie. Do you staff perm jobs? So we do have a perm division, but we, on the travel side, the way that works on our side of you and I working together as a traveler, you will be offered perm jobs all the time, especially if you're a great nurse and you have people skills and people like you and you love going to our hospitals and you're not afraid of meeting new people and introducing yourself to managers, and you're refreshing. Basically, you come in and you're like, oh, this is nice. So you will be offered jobs, a lot of perm jobs. I actually just got off the phone yesterday with a traveler that was offered several jobs on a resource pool, because on a resource pool, you usually can work at more than one hospital, and she was coming in and working at several hospitals in Denver, and she was already offered 2 perm jobs from 2 different ICU managers. So you are able to be offered perm jobs, but on the travel side, we're not staffing perm jobs, but we do have a perm job division from the HealthTrust side on the agency side, and we also have the perm jobs through HCA Direct. And if you don't really want to do the travel right now for whatever reason that is, and want to go straight to perm, you and I can talk more in detail about what it is, that the reason for wanting to go perm, whether it's benefits, and if there's something that we can do to maybe find you some type of local contract or something that you can work directly at one of our hospitals before you commit to go perm. One of the great things about traveling is that you are able to come to the facility and be a guest, and you are testing them for a little bit before you figure out whether you actually want to settle down at that hospital. And if you already know for a fact that you absolutely want to go perm and you need the benefits, or you need the job security, or you need to be working at one specific hospital and you're for sure going to stay there, then we can partner on where to send you, and we'll polish your resume, send it to the right people, and go ahead and get you over. And you like my highlights. Thank you. I actually bleached my hair for the first time this year. I brought it to TravCon, and it's been fun. Blondes do have fun. Growing back out. Thanks, Bonnie.
We probably touched on it too. So Tanisha is a travel nurse of mine. So she's been doing a resource float pool for a little bit. And it's definitely one of those things where it's absolutely a challenging assignment. But if you want to challenge yourself and you're ready to actually gain those skills and that flexibility and that versatility as a nurse, it's a really good option. I've heard really incredible things from my nurses that have done it. It's not right for all people just because of the scheduling requirements of it, as far as the availability that you have to give, but it is really great if you have that flexibility. And like she said, the money is awesome.
Absolutely.
There's never been a better time to be a travel nurse right now, especially going with HealthTrust.
Right. There's certain pros and cons with any type of contract. With the resource pool, to be upfront, some of the cons of the resource pool are, for example, you might not know where you're going. If there's a market that has more than one hospital, you might get a call very early in the morning and they're going to tell you this is where you're going. If you're the type of traveler that doesn't really care or is adaptable and wants to try something different, wants to try working at more than one hospital, I absolutely encourage it. The traveler that I was just talking about a minute ago that was offered a couple jobs, she was very passionate about being in Denver. She just got to Denver not that long ago, actually. She has friends out there and wanted to be there for a while, and she's already obsessed with all the hospitals. She absolutely loves it. She loves floating. She loves the opportunity to come in at different hospitals and learn about the different units. It's like a very quick way of learning how our hospitals work, how the different ICU units work, how the different managers operate, and you have the freedom and flexibility of being at more than one hospital. So for a true traveler that is absolutely ready to just take off and have your wings out, like Tanisha said, then the resource pools in markets that allow you to work at more than one hospital, a multi-facility resource pool would be ideal. And you want to partner with Brad and I on what divisions we could do that in, and we would absolutely love to help you.
Mm-hmm. It's really good. And the great thing about the resource pool positions are it was really created out of a need to have staffing in a particular area, but the contracts weren't coming quickly enough for people that wanted them. So it really came as a way for us to be able to keep people working. But the great thing about the resource pools is whenever it comes time for a renewal, they're normally renewed pretty quickly. So you could stay on a resource pool for as long as you wanted to up until, that year mark in most cases.
Absolutely. I remember the evolution of the resource pool for us started right as I was starting back in 2006, towards the end of the year. In 2017, we were starting to find different ways to get our travelers into our hospitals. In some cases, as all of you may know, anyone that's experienced with travel nursing and applying for jobs, sometimes we don't hear from the hospitals right away. And sometimes we don't get the answers right away as to why not. For the majority of the cases, we usually do, but sometimes the managers may be out or on leave or in a transition phase, and we wanted a quicker turnaround time. So we started to find team members internally in our travel division to reach out to the hospitals and be a liaison internally for our team. We have a MSP side, which is a program management side that has relationships already built with the hospitals, which is one of the great things about HealthTrust, and it sets us apart from a lot of the companies that we work with because we have relationships already built with the hospitals. So we basically have an added set of team members now that went from one team member to now in 2019, we have 4 team members that help us. Basically, they will call the hospital any given moment and get a follow-up right away. They are not shy or hesitant to pick up the phone and call the facility managers and directors and find out when we can go ahead and get your offer, when we can go ahead and get you ready for work. Can we negotiate the pay rate? Can we negotiate the time off? And we have an added resource, and that entire team of members is comprised of the resource pool team, and they're here to help us get you an offer. They're here to help us get you ready to work, and they're willing to do anything they need to do. Bonnie has a question. The back of my hair. Sure. This is the back of my hair. I actually did this myself. And it's interesting. I wasn't expecting the look to come out that way. I actually had to bleach it 5 times. And from going from never having it done before to doing it myself, it was definitely fun. We have a question about our name change. So as you may know or may not know, HealthTrust is actually owned by HCA. And in the process of rebranding the company and making the company better, we're trying to educate our travelers, our core staff, our facilities on how we staff and resource basically all of our travelers for HCA. So we are the preferred vendor and agency for all of the HCA hospitals, and in the process of rebranding, we basically have had certain evolutions of processes and ways that we can implement different technologies and different hiring practices to make what we do every day better. So the name change was one of those things in our rebranding. in the past 2 to 3 years since I've been here, I've noticed a lot of initiatives and a lot of investments that the company has made for our travelers, for our staff, for basically everyone that works at our facilities, and basically everyone that works at our headquarters, and all of the team members, to make sure that you have a great experience from beginning to end, that you have a liaison to talk to in case you have issues or problems, or you may have payroll related questions. We want to make sure that we are absolutely taking care of you. We have a question from Mindy. How much experience do you typically need to begin your first travel assignment? So as a nurse, you should have at least 24 months experience. As a nurse, the sweet spot is about 12 to 24 months of experience in that given specialty. If you don't have that exact experience, you want to talk to us about where you want to make the change. If you're going from, let's say, ICU to OR, and you don't have adequate experience, but you've had enough experience, let's say you're at the 11 months, going on to 12 months, you want to partner with us on if we can make an exception. We have made exceptions in the past, and the reason why we're thorough with the way that we have our limits on the time frame is because we want to make sure that as a traveler that you're going to the assignments and you are going to be successful on the assignments. You may get to a facility to do a contract, let's say for L&D, and you may not have had a lot of experience in being in the OR. And I've had certain cases where I send L&D travelers that may need to actually be in the OR. So we want to make sure that when we send you on an assignment, that you pair with management, that you pair with your interviewing manager, and with obviously Brad and I on, do you have the adequate experience, even if you're just a few months shy. If you're the type of traveler or nurse that can come into a unit and be completely independent and not really rely on anyone, you might be successful, but you might not have the resources available in that particular hospital or contract for you to be able to be successful and complete the contract without any hiccups. So the reason for the minimums is we want to make sure that you can absolutely have a great and successful assignment. So partner with us offline and ask us how many months of experience you have. Send us your resume, let us know what you're looking for, and we'll let you know if there's anything we can do about sending you to an assignment that is going to be successful for you. We want to make sure that you have a great assignment and succeed.
Selena, to answer your question about the, 8 years previous nursing experience in the ER, you can still work as an RN because you have that experience. As long as you've been working ER within the last 12 months, you're completely fine. And on that note, if you get into a particular facility and you're working as an RN in the ER and you wanted to maybe do ER as an NP later on, that's a possibility. We do have a locums team as well. That is set up for people who have that NP experience. So it could be a possibility for you as well. Definitely. But just because you're an NP now doesn't mean that you can't continue to travel as an RN. Right.
I've actually had a couple travelers go to NP school, do travel contracts on the nursing side, and then try to find a job as a nurse practitioner and not be successful right away, or only been able to find part-time jobs that then left them open for work or wanting to make extra money on the side. So we can obviously pair with you and partner with you, like we mentioned earlier, about your schedule. And if you're working another job, if you're still able to do so, we would absolutely love to help you. We want to see you succeed in whatever career path you take. And then I'll segue a little bit to answer that question in full. HealthTrust wants to offer you more than one ways to have a job. We have different departments and divisions within HCA, and that's one of the beauties, one of the things that I love about HealthTrust is that we have such a wide resources of hospitals and networks, and our footprint is huge. Some of the programs, like I mentioned earlier, from the very beginning is StarN, where right out of school, you're doing a 2-year contract and you're learning about all of the different units, and you're being floated around and learning about nursing or hospitals, how to be a great nurse, to then per diem, which is another option that we offer. We also offer local contracts. We obviously offer the travel. We do the full-time employment. We have clinical instructors, and we have the interim leadership. So it's kind of like a wheelhouse of all different types of employment possibilities that you have through HealthTrust. if you are wanting a career change and want some help or resources on how to do that or where you'd like to go, just pair with Brad and I on how to do so, and we would love to help you.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we're absolutely flexible. I've worked with AP providers in the past, so I'm definitely familiar with that career path. That's something that you eventually obviously wanted to get into since you already have that degree. I think that it's the possibility for the number of jobs you can do with this, whether it is clinical, administrative, or leadership, they're just really endless. There's always going to be a division that's able to help you out.
That is correct. We have a question from Monica. Are we allowed to work for more than one facility? We sort of answered that. The answer is yes and no. If you are able to work full-time on a travel contract and can still do per diem on your end, and pick up one shift or so, we have some cases where that is possible. We just want to make sure that, like I mentioned earlier, that you're not stretching yourself too thin, that the patient care is not suffering, that you're not suffering, that you're still able to commit to the travel contract that you do with us and the per diem on the other side, or vice versa. If you're doing per diem with HealthTrust and you're committing somewhere else to do a contract, we want to make sure that you're able to be 100% effective at both. We don't want you to suffer, lose sleep over this. We want to make sure that patient care is still where it should be, which is what HCA and HealthTrust want. We want to make sure that you have a successful assignment and career opportunity, and we want to make sure that if it's something that you're able to do, you want to partner with Brad and I on how to do that and how we can help make that happen.
Monica, for you, I think a really good option for you would be the float pool. I think that the resource pool would be a really good option for you if you're looking to just accrue a lot of hours. That would be a really good way to do it. You can just let them know once the way their scheduling structure is they'll call you and try to figure out what your availability is for any given week. And you give them usually 5 out of 7 days. If you tell them, say, I'm available for this day, this day, this day, this day, if they're going to schedule you for 3, you can let them know that you're able to do an additional 4th. That's definitely an option as well, depending on what the availability of hours, depending on the census on that particular unit is.
Absolutely. We partner with Brad and I on what markets have a lot of needs right now, where you can work overtime or where you can, really be used and work as many hours as you'd like. And in that case, you wouldn't necessarily have to look for another job. You can just work for us 4 or 5 days a week. I know I have several travelers that work a good amount of hours at our hospitals and don't really have to look anywhere else.
Yep. That's definitely one of those things where obviously that would just be a conversation with Gus or myself before you actually go on assignment. If you're looking to do a lot of overtime and that is your main goal, then we would have a conversation about where we see an abundance of needs at any given time. And we would make sure that we get you submitted there. And once you actually do have that conversation with that particular hiring manager, you can say, hey, listen, I want to do a lot of OT. You would work as much OT as they would allow you to work, basically. And then by that same token, you could have a conversation with Gus or myself to make sure that it makes sense for whatever OT rate you're going to be getting. So if you're going to be working a lot, then we would make sure that we structure your package to where it makes sense for you to be working over 36 hours every week.
Absolutely. And if you're a true traveler, I can't stress it enough. We have so many resources in terms of hospital, thanks to HCA. We own and operate over 200 of the hospitals, and we staff over 300. We staff hospitals from California, Northern California, even Washington State, all the way across to the East Coast, from Florida all the way up to Virginia. So the sky's the limit. Let us know where you'd like to go. If you are a true traveler and just want to take off and go see different divisions and markets where you can do these resource pools, let us know. Chances are we will definitely have them in the city you're looking for, or at least a couple of hours away. So just let us know what cities you are passionate about going to, or if you want to visit friends or family somewhere and you want to take advantage of our hospitals and the resource pools, and we can go ahead and put you to work there. Or if you just want to try a traditional travel contract, something a little bit different where you just go in, and whether it's your first time or whether it's your 10th time, reach out to us and let us know where you'd like to go, and we would absolutely love to send you to one of our hospitals.
It's a really good time of year to travel to. All of our seasonal needs have come in, and that's going to include the warmer states, so Florida and Texas for sure. If you're wanting to get out of the snow for a few months, let us know.
That's right. And for Florida, season is a little different than some of the other states. We have seasonal needs posted already now for as late as February and March in certain markets in Florida. So if you know you want to be in Florida and you've already booked yourself for a contract now and you're going to be open in January and February, let Brad and I know when you're looking to start your next assignment in Florida, and we can start getting you on the assignment and booking that now. So definitely reach out to us.
So Monica, to answer your question as far as the license assistance goes, it's kind of up to you how you want to handle it. Basically, if you're looking to pay for a particular license up front, we do not pay for licenses up front until you are able to get on assignment. But what we would do is, if that was a goal and you really needed to recoup that, you and I would talk about how to work into something into your pay package.
That is correct. It's also up to the recruiter to customize a pay package that is going to encompass anything that might be outside of the scope of work. In some cases, we have travelers that come to work for HealthTrust that have all of their licenses, have all of their certs ready. We might be working with nurses that are traveling for the first time. And when that's the case, we're going to need to get a good amount of documents ready for the onboarding process. Just so everyone is aware, the onboarding process for HealthTrust, we're usually requiring a good amount of documents to go work at our hospitals, sometimes more than some of the companies that we work with. And the reason for that being is we work with over 200 hospitals, in some cases over 300 when we have our non-HCA partner hospitals. So when we're sending you to work on an assignment and the assignment comes to an end and we want to send you somewhere else, there's a good chance you could go 5-8 states over, which will require a different set of forms. So in that case, we have a blanket set of documents that is required for almost 80% of our hospitals, which encompass titers, vaccinations, TDAPs, all of the above. You guys have probably heard this before, but with HealthTrust, sometimes there might be one or two of those things that you might not have heard of before. And if you don't have the money to be able to pay for them or need any type of assistance, let Brad and I know ahead of time so that we know when we're coming up with your pay package and we need to ask for a little bit more on the side to be able to cover that for you. Let us know for us, for the recruiters, to go ahead and encompass that pay package so that you are then able to go on the assignment and be successful. Monica wants to come to Florida and Texas. Actually, Florida and Texas are the best two states for HealthTrust and HCA. Texas, for being that the 4 major cities in Texas, Austin, Houston, San Antonio, and the Dallas-Fort Worth area, are filled with our hospitals. And we have contracts there year round. In certain cases, Brad, I'm sure you can attest the same. I have travelers that have worked in either Austin, Houston, or San Antonio for an entire year before they go on a different contract. And in San Antonio, I've had several travelers that worked there for almost 2 years, just consecutively, concurrently. They'll take a little break for tax reasons, and then they'll come back in San Antonio and they'll just do almost 2 years of straight work in any given city. Dallas, it's a little different. We have a 26-week cap on Dallas, but for the most part, Texas is absolutely great. And Florida, we have almost 50 hospitals in Florida. We have a really good amount. It is the highest dense with all of the HCA hospitals we have in Florida. So Florida and Texas are absolutely great.
Oh yeah, definitely. It really just depends on how long you want to stay in any particular area. In all those areas that Gus mentioned, they're going to have pretty consistent, normally heavy needs throughout the entire year. So that could be a really good option for you too. And then Selena, to your comment too, if you're wanting to come to Florida in February or March, you can definitely do it, because we already are seeing a lot of those needs become available right now, with start dates as late as March 2nd, I think, is the latest that I've seen so far, at least for Florida, an option for you.
Absolutely. And Tanisha's great comment. If you can obtain Yep. Tanisha says, if you can obtain or have a multi-state compact license, you will possess a black card of travel nursing. I have a compact license with Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and awaiting California. Just do it. I couldn't agree more, Tanisha. Having a compact state license opens all the doors for you as a traveler. If you're wanting to be at a state that is not part of the compact, like California or Nevada or any of the other states that you may have family members in, and want to get there and work for an HCA hospital, let us know, and we will do whatever we need to do to get you working there. The sky's the limit in terms of traveling and going on an assignment and really enjoying what this profession is. So partner with us and see what we can do about getting you either your license compact or getting you a state license. If there's a particular state that you need to be in and want to work at, let us know.
Right, exactly what he said. And it's kind of a relatable thing as far as the way HealthTrust, like the continuity of your career would go if you were to go with us. It's very similar to the combat in that once you have that credentialing and that stuff done, any sort of additional steps that you would need in between contracts or go into a new facility would be minimal training. Once your stuff is done, it's done. You can really just pop right in and out with relative ease. And we would we could book your contract just, if you came to the end of one with us and you decided that you didn't want to extend, you wanted to go somewhere else completely different, we would just make sure that we booked it maybe 2 to 3 weeks out from any particular start date, and you could step right in. We would just make sure that like any sort of additional orientation that the facility requires that you haven't already done, we would just get that assigned to you, get it done, and you're good.
Absolutely. Monica is in the compact, and she is trying to get her GA state license. The compact access. Absolutely. If you need any help or assistance figuring that out, reach out to us. It's pretty straightforward. You should be able to reach out to the BON, but if you need help with getting that started or how to make that happen, let us know, and we would love to help you. Marketing actually has a great initiative, really cool for our travelers that have been working for us in different states and different assignments. We're sending you a passport with different stamps of the different assignments you've been in with different states on them. It's really cool. So we would love to send you that as well. I know I've sent that to a few of my travelers with all of the assignments you've been on, and it's actually really cool. Have you got to see it, Brad, the passport?
I have. Mm-hmm. I wish I had one.
Me too. Well, you would have 2 for Vegas now.
Oh, yeah, that's true, I guess. So in the last few minutes, if there are any additional questions, we would love to answer those for you guys. If not, we will definitely be able to take it offline. We can comment on the post in Gypsy Nurse with our direct contact information, both phone number and email. So if you guys have time today, we can talk about it. But if not, you can just reach out to us, and either one of us will be able to schedule a time to talk about some potential options for you guys for next contracts.
Absolutely. Brad and I both have our contact information, our number, and our email on our Facebook page. So go on our Facebook page, reach out to us, send us a message, email or call us, and we will reach out to you and work with you on either continuing your career as a traveler or getting you started as a traveler. If you have any questions, whether you've never done it before or are experienced and are wanting to come work for HCA for the first time, or whether you worked for us before and want to come back, reach out to Brad and I on how we can make that experience great and make sure that you have a successful assignment and career with HealthTrust.
Definitely. Couldn't have said it better myself. To answer Freddie's question, I think I just wanted to say we are a subsidiary of HCA. So we are the frontline vendor for any and all contracts. So we don't operate like a tier 2 or 3, if that's what you're kind of implying with HCA. We don't have to worry about the profits that will be gained from a third-party company because we are owned and operated straight by them.
Absolutely. And to piggyback off of that, that doesn't necessarily always affect the rate, but it's also the exclusivity that we have with certain contracts. HealthTrust has exclusive contracts that come to us first. In many cases, Brad and I have relationships with certain travelers that the facility requests them directly because they've worked for them before, and these jobs aren't even posted anywhere. The facility will reach out to us and say, we'd like Nancy Nurse to come back. Please, get her information, find out if she's available. And in most cases, the contracts are not even posted. We will have basically the managers wanting to have you back to work for us. And that goes a little bit far above the exclusivity of the contracts. The exclusivity of the contracts for us means that as a traveler for HealthTrust, you'll be able to apply for these contracts before they're posted anywhere else. But in certain cases, if you already have relationships built in place with Brad and I and the facility, it's as easy as the manager sending you a text and you sending the manager a text back saying, yes, I want to come back. And before you know it, that job that was not even posted is now yours. So having those relationships with the hospitals and with the facility and every hospital that you go to on these contracts is absolutely vital. So we'd love to have the opportunity for you to do that at any of our hospitals. So reach out to us on how we could do that and make that happen.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us today. Thank you everyone that asked questions. If you're just now tuning in, we will be posting this later on. We'll put it on our YouTube website everywhere. So if you want to rewatch it and see any of the questions. For those of you did ask questions, you will be getting a chance to win a $20 Amazon gift card. So thank you, Gustavo and Bradley. And if you guys have any questions, reach out to them after this and they'll be happy to help.
Awesome. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank
Bye.
you,
Thanks.
Rachel.